Let's Talk Flix. My name is Ivan Miranda, your host for this show. This is a movie podcast. Let me straighten that out. I've been talking about movie news, movie topics, and just anything and everything in movies. And today I have again a special guest, Robert Pachik. Pachik. Jesus.
Messed it up, dude. Pachik.
Okay, that's why we call them bloopers. Pachik. Okay, there we go. Robert Pachik. Joining me once again. He was with us last show when we talked about comic book movies, comic book characters, and today we'll discuss the different topics, and the majority of them are comic books. So, that's what you like to talk about, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, so. This past weekend we had New York Comic Con, which is kind of, it's not the San Diego Comic Con, not the big dog, but it was, we kind of were expecting, most of us were expecting something
bigger.
Yes, and it kind of was a little more want.
Yeah.
It didn't deliver to what was being. It's New York, man. Come on. Give us something a little more of a wow factor. You gotta compete with San Diego Comic Con. They should, try something bigger besides what they gave us.
Yeah, exactly. I have to agree with you on that one. Like, San Diego is like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Then New York City's supposed to be like 1.5.
You would think, man. New York's New York. And the millions of people that live there, and yeah, they didn't deliver much this year.
Yeah, half the Marvel universe is out of New York City. You figure we'd get something better.
Yeah, if anything, if not with the movies, at least give us a little more from the Netflix series. They gave us a little bit. As we talked about earlier, they did bring out the Defenders.
Yeah.
The cast, and they actually announced Sigourney Weaver as a villain. Yeah.
And that boggled my mind as well. I'm sitting there thinking, like, okay, Sigourney Weaver, who could she play that's so pivotal in New York City? And I was like, I was at a loss.
You're lost? Well, you before this podcast, you did mention someone you might like to see her play. I mean, what do you think? What was that?
Well, I thought it would be cool if she brought the xenomorphs from Aliens down and
they fought the
Defenders. Yeah. But as far as a
crossing universes there, that'd be nice, right?
Yeah, it would be. Carl Ridley Scott.
But let's be honest, the xenomorphs would probably rip through the Defenders.
Yeah, they would find a way.
Yeah,
you don't have the Marines there to fight them off as much, but
yeah.
I don't know. I'm at a loss. That's something I'm going to have to sit down and see what people are putting on Twitter, and then try to just say agree or disagree.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep track of that and see what
future show.
Yeah. See what they actually announce as the character. I mean, they did release a little teaser of Iron Fist. You catch that Iron Fist teaser?
Yeah, I did catch that. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, it shows his power. I love the tattoo that he has with the dragon. And Iron Fist is quite a nice character. I mean, it's just, this white guy who goes to like the mountains in Tibet, not the same temple as Doctor Strange goes to, but close, a couple miles down the road. And he learns his path.
Yeah,
and he just, his name says it all. He just has this superpower of the Iron Fist, and he can punch through anything and fight through anything. Plus, he knows karate as well. So
their tag for the show was a human weapon or something like that. His body is his weapon or something like that. Yeah. Like I said, it was a teaser. They didn't show us that much. It was about a minute and a half. So for what it was, it looked good. And Netflix has been killing it with the Marvel series that they have. They haven't made a really bad series. Unless you disagree with any of the Marvel series that came out with. Did you enjoy them all? Or
Yeah, I did. And it's like really tough because I got asked the other day which one's my favorite between Devil, Jones, and Luke Cage. And right now, it's like Luke Cage is killing it.
Yeah.
Like Daredevil, I was so excited to see every episode because it's new. It's like harder. It's in a darker area. And then now I'm watching Luke Cage, and I'm like, I just can't get enough of it. Like, the cast is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And they purposely made it in Harlem, black actors who are doing an amazing job fulfilling these characters who are very dark and multidimensional. And it's like they've integrated so much about the culture into the TV show that it's just, you're embedded in it. It's like, it's part of Marvel's universe because they mention it. They mention like the guy in the mask and Jessica Jones, and they drop hints left and right. But yet, it's its own entity.
It's funny. The first episode, he's walking through the streets, and one of the dudes is selling like a bootleg of they called it the incident.
Yeah, the incident.
The Avengers incident. Selling off of that. Just a little nod to say that they're in the world of the Avengers, but they still keep it smaller and grounded to their neighborhood, which is tough, and it's been a good start, and everybody's enjoying it for the most part.
Yeah, I am too. And like the kickback to the original comics, it's like following through and through, like Shades, the guy with the glasses, he's mentioned in the original, and Luke Cage originally appeared as Luke Cage, Heroes for Hire, in episode 1 or comic 1, and it showed in the 70s. When the blackification was coming out and the integration of black culture in the mainstream media was coming out. And Marvel, God bless them, they did not know how to write characters except through stereotypes when they early introduced them. Nowadays, people would go back and probably laugh at Marvel first appearance of Luke Cage because he was actually a gangbanger. I think he was with the Bloods.
Oh, wow.
And he got arrested and thrown into jail. And even in jail, like the guards come up to him, they're like, hey, you're black, you can tell us about black culture, be our spy against the black gang members and tell us what's going on. And as you read this comic, you're like, oh my god, this is so stereotypical bad Marvel. But you look back at it,
not Marvel,
70s.
Yeah, exactly. They definitely cannot follow that storyline nowadays because no one would accept it and be banished into it.
Yeah, I could just imagine putting it on Netflix and you see Luke Cage being a Blood member fighting the Crips and being thrown in jail. They're like, no, this isn't going to work. Let's change this a little.
Exactly. He has bigger fish to fry. I mean, in the world that they're in. So especially with the fact that they're with the New York Comic Con, they're going to rally the Defenders together. Yeah, it's exciting to see that we're going to have some kind of Avengers-esque type of show on a smaller scale for us on for Netflix, and not have to go to a movie theater and see that type of. I mean, the fact that we're getting all these characters at our disposal is pretty cool. Yeah.
Now, is the Defenders going to be a TV show? Or is it going to be a movie?
I don't know. I'm sure they'll probably have a few episodes. I don't think they'll draw out a 13 or 10 to 13 episode, but it probably might be a 5-part or mini movie, probably.
Yeah, because they don't need to do the background anymore. No. They just need to kind of find something to get these 5 cats together.
For sure. There has to be 4, yes. And then, they're working on the Punisher as we speak, that series. Yeah. I mean, we talked about before this, about the fact that the Punisher and Ghost Rider had a few run-ins back in the day, and the fact that we now have a acceptable Ghost Rider, an acceptable Punisher, because the ones that they gave us before, I mean, God bless Nick Cage, but no. And those Punishers that they gave us, no. Even Thomas Jane, I liked. I didn't mind him. It's just the movie sucked.
Yeah, it wasn't written well, and
although the only reason we caught it around here because it was made in our hometown, Tampa. Right. It's always
like John Travolta.
Yeah. No. Oh man, that was bad. That was bad. Have you rewatched that ever since it came out?
Yeah, I actually did.
It's even worse.
I saw it on. It was either Amazon or Netflix had it for like a hot minute before the whole Marvel thing started, and I went back and I watched it. I'm like, okay, and then John Travolta comes in. I'm just like, man,
it takes you out of it. Yeah. I think they
he doesn't pay a good villain.
No.
Well, Swordfish he did.
Yeah, I really like Swordfish.
Swordfish he did.
That's a good one.
But recently, no.
And Broken Arrow with Christian Slater.
Right. I forgot about that.
John Woo. That's one of my favorite 90s movies right there, Broken Arrow. That's, it's a handful. He's tried the whole villain thing, and sometimes he can pull it off, sometimes he can't. And Face Off.
Yeah.
With Nick Cage.
Face Off, that was a good one.
He started off good and then was the villain. That was a great movie. Face Off, I can watch that movie at any point in the day. You can, if it's on, I'm finishing watching it at any point. I love Face Off. And it's not, it's not one of those like cheesy 90 movies, where you watch it now, you're like, how did I like this? Yeah. Why did I like this movie? But it can be watched now, and you can still enjoy it for the most part.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we talked about New York Comic Con, how much of a letdown was. We expected some things from it, but we did get something out of it, and from it we got the Power Rangers. We got some kind of footage of the Power Rangers movie, the beloved Power Rangers that nobody asked for, but they still gave it to us.
Yeah.
And they dropped a teaser trailer about over 2 minutes. Of course, before the trailer even dropped, they gave us a bunch of posters and images from the movie. We already know what the new costumes look like, and even parts of the Zords and all that. And we know it's a younger cast.
We haven't seen the Zords yet.
No. We just they have posters with parts of the
Yeah, you're looking at it, you're like, what's that? The leg?
Yeah, like the nose or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, they dropped the trailer on us, and I have to say I was a little underwhelmed by it and was a little thrown off by where they're going with it. But what are your thoughts on this new teaser trailer for Power Rangers that they're giving us? 2017, March 24th to be exact.
So this weekend I saw the trailer when it came up on IGN, like notifications. I'm like, sweet. So I watched it. And then I had to rewatch. I'm like, okay, this isn't the Power Rangers I remember. So I actually went back and saw the very first episode. Actually, it's actually the second episode, but the one that showed on TV. Yeah. You ever watch the original pilot?
Pilot? No. It's been so long.
Well, if you watch the one that came on TV, it was interesting because it was like these teenagers, they're brought up, they reject them, they're like, you guys are crazy, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, well, now that you gave us powers, oh, look, now we're finding a giant Gordon or Gorder or whatever his name was, the ape.
Yes.
Like armor. And what was funny was they didn't beat him. Like, they hit a stalemate and they reached for the sword and then he disappeared. There wasn't like a clear defeat or, he's just like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to come back later. But he was beating them up pretty well. But then I went back and watched the trailer again. I'm like, okay, this is totally different because in the original, they were just normal karate kids.
Yeah.
Like, they knew how to fight. They knew how to stand on their own. But with the coins, they got the suits, and then they became more powerful. And then when the monsters became giant because of Rita, who would cast her magic down with a corny line, they got into the Zords, and then they unified. But even as I was watching the first episode, the original, I was looking back, I'm like, wait, how come these individual parts don't fight on their own? Like, you don't see the mammoth tackle in, and then the pterodactyl coming down and fighting from above. I'm like, wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
If, like, each Zord fought on their own, but then they had to unite. They don't do that. I'm like, what's the purpose of them, like, running up in, like, different Zords? Why don't they just unify? But I'm getting on a tangent. No.
Yeah, no. I hear you. But
then when I was watching the New York Comic Con, I was like confused. I'm like, okay, so now you're all powerful, so what's the point of this?
Well, they start off with, like you mentioned, they're in high school and they're not popular.
Yeah.
They're like, and then it shows a scene where they're like in a breakfast club type in the detention or something like that together, and they zoom past it real fast where they become friends, and then they find this something out there in the middle of nowhere, and it's
don't explain what they're doing there.
No, they don't explain why they're there because of course it's 2 minutes, you can't explain it. And then they find a coin
in the rock that no one else saw before.
And for some reason before that they exploded it or something. Somehow they used like some kind of explosion. Did you catch that part?
Yeah, teenagers with dynamite.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey, I got an extra dynamite here, let's just find out, let's blow this stuff that we have no idea what the hell it is, blow it up and see what happens,
Yeah.
Like, normal teenager too. I guess nowadays, instead of, no Snapchat or Twitter, just blow stuff up. But, it's strange because, in the series that we watched when we were kids, they got their powers from the suit and transforming into Power Rangers, and then this one in the movie, it's more of
they go out and find it.
Yeah, and I kind of relate it to the Fantastic Four, where they went somewhere, were exposed to something, and they gained powers, and that's kind of what they're. And then they're like flying and jumping over cliffs and stuff. And like, what the hell's going on here?
Well, what's really weird though is a lot of movies, especially the action hero type, has conflict character. Gets a call in somehow. Like in Star Wars, there was the message from Princess Leia and R2-D2. Luke Skywalker's like, oh, look at this pretty princess and this robot. I want to find out more about this. There's always a call in somewhere.
Yeah.
And usually they like announce it in the trailer and say, hey, look, character and conflict, like you said, the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Here's how they are given the message to go out on this hero's journey. But I think the trailer skipped over that part. It's like...
Yeah, they definitely did give us a teaser, although be it over 2 minutes long, it still didn't explain the story and
what led up to it.
Yeah.
It's like conflict character, action scene, funny stuff, action scene.
And of course, and then the new Rangers, they flipped the character casting a little bit. They have, Asian and black, and they don't have the Asian female, they have the Asian male instead of the white. Billy and all that. Billy's a black dude now. Which is all cool. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing changes that and all. But I don't know. It was strange to see. It was
different.
Yeah, it felt like Fantastic Four meets Chronicle. Kind of, for me at least, No,
I think that's a good analogy.
Yeah. Speaking of Chronicle, originally, the writer for Chronicle, Max Landis, was hired to write this new Power Rangers movie, and he even went on Twitter to explain that he wrote a silly, fun, goofy, retro teen action movie. Then they fired him, and 5 or so writers later, it appears they made like a Chronicle. Pretty much, he's dogging it. He's saying that they fired him, and instead of making it fun and silly, they made another Chronicle.
Well, that's what was cool about the Power Rangers was it was fun and silly. Mm-hmm. It wasn't meant to be taken seriously. I mean, they mixed a Japanese TV show with American actors and bad karate, like foot soldiers, and
even in this trailer, there was kind of some cheesy action karate scenes.
Yeah, did you hear the music
like that? Dun, dun, go Power Rangers. Yeah. With a theme like that, you have to have something silly. It's got to be silly. Go Power Rangers! Yeah. Come on.
You know what I need to do now though is go back and watch the '90s movie.
I actually liked that movie. At least when I was a kid, yes. Probably now, I would probably really dislike it, but I did like it.
Hand on your face, oh my God, how did I get into this? But
and in this one, they have Rita Repulsa, Elizabeth Banks, and she's definitely not looking anything like the old school Rita Repulsa.
Yeah, but you got to update that. I mean, you can't.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you can't have that.
But do you hear Goldar is going to be in it?
Who?
The ape guy with the armor.
Oh, yeah. So I hear, yeah. I mean,
I'm sure I'm saying his name wrong. Somebody's going to hashtag it in.
Right. No, it's not the right name. I mean, in the series, the only thing Rita Repulsa did good for me was give us the Green Ranger.
Yeah.
All those other things.
Awesome was
that was great.
Yeah, like you had the villain range with like the little sword, and he was kicking their butts, and then he became a man of conflict and turned around and realized that he needs to be the hero. Yep. Became the White Tiger Ranger.
That was one of my favorite Rangers. Was the White Ranger.
I went nuts as a kid to have the Power Ranger Zords and like the giant robot. Oh, yeah. I forget the name. It's off the top of my head. But then when they came out with the Green Ranger and it could unite, I'm like, I gotta have it. Then they had the White Ranger. I think that's when my mom said, enough. You're 14 years old.
I know, right? Grow up sometime, kid. No, but
you are no longer 8 and 9.
Well, let's face it. When we're kids watching this, everybody wanted to be the White Ranger.
Yeah.
It was the time. Especially it was the coolest, bro. I mean, at first it was the Red Ranger.
You're like, dude.
Exactly. No, at first,
the White Ranger.
Jason, the Red Ranger, was a cool one.
Yeah.
And then once Tommy came came along, no one gave a shit about the Red Ranger. Like, okay, dude, this dude has long hair, ponytail, and he kicks ass.
Yeah, and he still does. Like, he still lives up to the hype.
Yeah,
like,
he still...
I saw him in an interview recently. I'm like, whoa. It's like a 5-time black belt, and he goes on worldwide tours and stuff.
Yeah, he goes to all the cons, and you know, he still, like, sometimes dresses as a Green Ranger and stuff. And, you know, hey, dude, make your money. You know, why not? Sure, if that's what you're known for, and whatnot. Have you heard? He's actually been cast as Bloodshot. You ever heard of Bloodshot from Variant? Yeah. He's actually
Bloodshot in the TV show. Yeah. Did you see the trailer for that?
No, I missed that one.
Oh man,
good.
Oh yeah. Well, Bloodshot's an awesome character. I mean, I was kind of disappointed. Valiant recently came out and said who Bloodshot was. Now, I'm not going to say I'm the biggest Valiant expert in the world.
Yeah.
But basically, his character was, he was taken in for experimental. Mm-hmm. His whole big thing is nanites. They go through his body and they cure all the diseases and they make him invulnerable. It's not natural healing. It's not like Wolverine or Deadpool. But Bloodshot can get shot up and like just start healing. But it's the nanites and they're reproducing his tissue and keeping him alive. And I love Valiant. I'm getting more into Valiant, more into these characters and their background. But they're starting their cinematic universe, but I think it's online first.
Yeah.
You know, if I read the article correctly. And their first character that they show was Ninjaka.
I've seen a story about it, yes.
Yeah, and he's just a awesome ninja who just knows everything. He's like an assassin. He always hits his mark. But what was really cool was you saw Bloodshot in this trailer fighting. And there's this one scene we got a knife to the head, and I'm like, well, he's just going to heal from that.
Yeah. Oh, that's nothing. He's going to heal from it.
But what's really cool was at the very end, you saw Exo Man of War come around the side in the like yellow and blue suit.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there with my girlfriend. I'm like, whoa. And she's like, what? I'm trying to explain this whole thing to her, and she just looks like deer in headlights.
Like, yeah, whatever, man.
But what I like about Valiant, especially right now, is they have these crossover events that are only 12 to 14 issues, whereas Marvel has to have a crossover event with like 60 to 70 comics now, and it's never ending, and you go online like 2 weeks later, it's like, oh, it's going to be extended, but it's delayed, you know, from 8 major comics, it's now 10, but don't worry, you're not going to see them for 3 months. Whereas Valiant just has this beautiful plan, and they're gaining readership and popularity, artwork's beautiful, so... Yeah, I actually need to read up on my Valiant and background, but
no, you know, well, they have a lot to, you know, I would say catch up, but you know, they're definitely their own breed of comic, and you know, they have their own breed of fans, and you know, it's definitely a touchy thing to try to bring a movie universe from those comics when not many people know, you know, to invest that much money. And you know, it's not gonna be well received like the Marvel and DC movies are being received. Yeah. So they kind of have to test the grounds with it and doing what they're doing now.
Yeah, and if you look at the TV or the trailer, it looks like something that's coming out on TV, like something that's gonna be on ABC,
like a Arrow series or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Where the graphics are good, but they're not outstanding. Like Ninjaka looks just like he does in the comics, and you're looking at it, and it's like, well, that looks good, but it doesn't really quite relate to functionality.
I mean, yeah, I mean, because you know, I followed Jason David Frank on Instagram, so that's how I found out that he was a Bloodshot and all that. So you know, you kind of have to stumble upon it. It's not really, they're not really announcing it and going, you know, like everything else is. So I mean, you wouldn't know that they're at your Comic-Con unless you were, you know, truly following them, you know?
Yeah, and Valiant actually started through Marvel's Jim Shooter. He left to go back to basics and write comics about character development and character history. And Jim Shooter saw the biggest expanse of Marvel. You know, it's where, like, every week they were coming out with, like, new mutants or new whatever. So he started Valiant to narrowed it down to, like, 5 or 6 heroes. But it just has such a depth. And it went through a problem where they were sold to Acclaim for video game rights. And Acclaim, of course, fell through the cracks if you know anything about gaming history.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They used to have, like, the WWF games and stuff like that, but they couldn't hold on to it. So a couple years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago, it was bought out by some investors. And then they decided to go back to its roots and say, let's work on great artwork and great storylines and focus on that, where we want to create these, like, in-depth characters. But they're awesome. I mean, I haven't picked up a Valiant issue in say, why did I buy this?
Well,
but once again, I'm like jumping in the middle of a story.
No, yeah, well, that's as good as an endorsement as you can give, being that you haven't a full-fledged Valiant reader. So
yeah.
All right. Let me interject here in the middle of this podcast to show some love to one of our pals on the podcast radio network, Splurch with ParleyPod. ParleyPod, Splurch, however you know them. Just check out their promo for their show and check them out Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. on the podcast radio network.
Hey there, fellow podcast fans. Do you love comic books, and especially Swamp Thing? Get out of the bayou. So do we. Come check out the ParleyPod Show, the world's only podcast dedicated to the muck-encrusted mockery of a man himself, Swamp Thing. This is some serious arcane audio as we chat with comic book professionals, reviews, spoofs, talk about back issues. Everything swampy under the sun happens here. Give us a listen at parlepod.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, Podomatic, our YouTube channel, and we're on every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern on podcastradionetwork.net. Join your hosts, Dave and John, parlepod.com. Let's go into the green. We'll see you in the swamps.
Well, going ahead here, we're expecting with what we were expecting with Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, Wolverine 3, the last outing for Hugh Jackman there. He's been teasing on Instagram and social media about the new Wolverine movie coming out this next year.
Yeah.
And we're, with all that teasing this past week or week and a half, we were, or at least we were assuming that they would drop some kind of trailer or a little more or a clip or something at New York Comic Con, which they did not. But, at least in the past week and a week and a half, they did drop the official title for the movie and some plot details. So we got something,
Yes.
It's still, it's not that long away. It's still 6 months away. So we don't have to wait that long for it. But, of course, they named the title Logan.
Right.
That's the title, Logan. Unlike Ben Affleck's The Batman,
yeah.
Which is, you see The Batman, it's a Batman movie. But Logan, how do you think having the title of Logan is going to affect of course, when you see the trailers, you see Hugh Jackman Wolverine, you're going to know it's Wolverine.
Yeah.
But just as a title alone, how do you feel of the title?
Maybe they're going back to basics.
Yeah.
I mean, Logan's not his real name. It's the identity he picked up because he lost his identity. He had the name tag Logan. Anybody's seen Wolverine Origins? It explains the whole thing.
Well, and they've bashed it over heads with numerous times with flashbacks.
Yeah.
in pretty much most of the X-Men movies. Even the last one it wasn't the last one, was it? It was
Apocalypse showed his more origins when he went through the helmet.
When he went berserk,
yeah, berserk Wolverine.
Yep.
But I really don't know what I think about the title. I haven't really thought much about it. I thought they would be a little bit more original, like Last Days of Wolverine or To the End of Logan, or something better.
Well, for the longest time, people assumed it would be an Old Man Logan story.
Yeah.
Like, maybe even Old Man Logan as the title, or Wolverine Old Man Logan would be, most people assumed it would be titled.
Yeah, which they did kind of announce. I mean, it takes place in what year?
Yeah. The plot, the details, Logan takes place in the year 2024, which is only freaking less than 10 years away from where we're living now.
Yeah, but if you think about it, too, I mean, Wolverine was born in the 1800s, so he would technically be very old.
Yeah. Well,
by 2024.
Yeah, but
but it's not old
8
in our
years from now.
Yeah.
You're thinking we just seen him
in the movies. He looks like he's in his 40s.
Yeah. Days of Future Past was 2 years ago or something. So he didn't look that well. He did have gray hair when they went back at the end of the movie. So there was shades of gray. He didn't use the old Rogaine for his hair.
Yeah, but they're going to have to explain what caused him to lose his healing effect.
Yeah. Yeah, because, you know, in the plot they got here, they say the film is darker tone than any of the Wolverine X-Men movies, and it is an old man Logan in full effect. So Logan looks bad, and he drinks a lot, and he works as a almost like a cab driver, and he drives a 2024 Chrysler 300 limo that's modified to look is modified in the front and look more of a futuristic. So I guess 8 years from now we're gonna have a very futuristic limousine for
one that flies too.
Yeah,
like
well,
the Jetsons.
Yeah. I doubt we'll get that far in 8 years, but you know, he's sick, his powers are fading, and he heals much more slowly. So it's interesting that they're gonna go that route. Well, I mean, if you're gonna kill off Wolverine, I guess.
Yeah, you can't have a young guy walking around.
Yeah, you gotta get him when he's going downhill.
Yeah, but if you look at those pictures, like when he has his claws out and that girl's hand is holding onto his, he has scarring and he's bleeding.
Yeah,
like it's a fresh wound, which is interesting because they're apparently showing that he's hurt, that he's aged, that, you know. So what's slow in this aspect? Because, you know, if you remember the movies, he's like, he stabbed, you look down, like 5 seconds later, it's healed.
It's healing up as he, you know, is walking down and fighting at that.
Yeah. So obviously if he still has these scars, it's taken hours, if not days. That's my guess. Because the girl's hand is also dirty, too. Like, I don't know, maybe I spent way too much looking at that image, but I was like trying to get some hint.
Yeah, I know. Like, you know, they dropped the title, and all you get is Wolverine's hand and a smaller hand, and you're just like, what's going on here, you know?
And there's a few other images, too. We saw Xavier at old age.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Which, once again, you know, we're only talking about less than 10 years, but he looks like a well-aged man. You know, maybe he's been hitting the bottle, too. And then you got the severed arm with a shotgun.
Which, you know, which shows that this movie will be hard R.
Yeah. And then you have the hotel that says vacancy and a figure on the bottom, which even me, like, looking up on my high definition computer monitor, I'm like, I can't tell who that is.
Yeah. Maybe it's the villain, which we'll get to in a second. But speaking of the little girl, the details on who the little girl is in 2024, mutant births are severely in a decline, and people aren't sure why. But you know, they find out that the government, they have a government type of operation called transigen, that is turning mutant children into killing machines. And Logan...
Which is interesting because the Terrigen Mist is what turns humans into Inhumans, which are superpowered beings, you know, similar to mutants. It's just not quite, but, you know, if you want a comparison for those who don't know, Inhumans are like kind of like mutants. They come from the same celestial messing with people. You know, it's hinted in the TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah. So, but to say it was like, what, the Terrigen?
Yeah.
Terrigen? That's a throwback.
Yeah.
Right there.
And it says Logan...
Even in the comics, that's what's causing the mutant population to die off right now.
Yeah?
Yeah. So...
Well, just on that picture, Logan ends up with mentoring the young girl who does have 2 claws of her own instead of 3. You know, a lot of rumors out there saying that she would be X-23.
Right.
You know, going forward, we'll see if that becomes the case. But 2 claws. It was X-23. She had 3 claws, right? Yeah.
No, she had 2.
2?
Yeah, she was a clone of Wolverine. They got a hold of his DNA, and they trained her to be an assassin. If I remember correctly, her mother was allowed to partake in her training. And then at one point in time, they realized the mother was trying to stop the whole thing from happening, so they killed off mom. And then that's when she lost her stuff, and then decided to become this like raging, killing machine beast. And then finally she escaped. And it's weird because she has a shutdown factor, like some word or phrase that they say, and she shuts down. I don't remember. It's been a while since I read Grant Morrison's run. But eventually one thing led to another. She escaped, and she still held this like killing machine type status within her. And then she finally met up with Wolverine and the X-Men, who are like, okay, wait, you know, there's more to life. And she was basically a B character. As a matter of fact, I think her original appearance was in X-Men Evolutions, the cartoon show that came out, and then Marvel realized she was a popular character, and they made a comic book series based on her appearances. But after that, she joined X-Force with Wolverine. And there was a great storyline there where they actually went off to try to kill Apocalypse through Cyclops, tell him to go do it. They became a vigilante team. It was Wolverine, Archangel, X-23, Domino. Deadpool was in there too. And it was a great run on X-Force. And then after that, she kind of became a B character, hit or miss within the X-Men. And then now with the all-new, all-different Marvel, she's actually part of the X-Men once again with her own independent series, all-new, all-different Wolverine, which is getting decent reviews.
Yeah.
But Marvel right now is not writing good X-Men stories.
Well, yeah, they don't want to give them the arsenal.
Yeah.
to going forward.
Yeah, so she's been around for a while, and she's a popular take on Wolverine. So it would be a good transition to move from Hugh Jackman to this new character, but at the same side too, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
where they're going with it.
Yeah, exactly. Unlike Marvel, Fox doesn't look like they have a grand scale major outlook through the years of their movies.
You're right.
I mean, Marvel has freaking movies at 2025 or whatnot. They have a plan.
Yeah.
They alter it as they go, but they generally have a good outline of their movies and how it's going to be going. But with Fox, it's kind of like they're taking it as they make them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is kind of,
like with the Deadpool at the end, when he walks back, he's like, Cable's going to be in the next movie.
Yeah.
It's like, great. And then now they announced Deadpool 2, like 6 or 7 months after Deadpool 1 ended. And it's like, why don't you just say he's going to be in the next movie 2 weeks later? Be like, oh yeah, by the way, he is. Instead of waiting so long to see where the budget and money's going to be.
Well, they made that for pennies on a dollar and had huge success with it. Of course they greenlit the sequel, but with the iron being hot, they should have
a plan.
Yes, and moving straight forward and announcing who's going to play Cable and all that stuff, and being confident in your property. Of course, we got Hugh Jackman's last hurrah here, but we're unsure of with the failure. Not the failure. They made money with Apocalypse, but it wasn't.
It wasn't my Apocalypse.
No.
It wasn't. It wasn't the Apocalypse I grew up with in the 90s.
No,
like
I'm sure they're expecting more.
When you saw Apocalypse in the cartoon, you knew something was going to happen. And this one, it's just like, yeah, he is a puppet master in the comics, but he's also an action guy too. He plays both roles. He's like, come to me, my children, and love me. Yeah. And it's like, you could destroy the entire X-Men in like 50 seconds. And
you didn't necessarily have to kill him off. You didn't have to kill off Apocalypse. He could easily continue on to future movies.
Yeah.
Why bother killing off such a good... he wasn't a great character in this movie, but
I heard it best the other day. Like, he was more of the background scene of a painting than he was the upfront forced in actions or something like that. I'm losing the analogy here, but he wasn't what they made him out to be. And of course, you're having the villain from Power Rangers movie playing Apocalypse as well, and then they did that horrific pink purple, and it's like come on, man.
Well, yeah,
you did so good with Days of Futures Past, which was brilliant.
Yeah,
and then you give us Apocalypse, which is garbage.
Yeah, you
better make it up with Logan.
Exactly. We don't want to get on the Apocalypse because there's so much. We tried. We covered that last time, and it was not nice. But the villain for Wolverine, there's been of course they casted Boyd Holbrook from Narcos.
Yeah, Narcos. Yeah.
Yeah. The main character, the cop in Narcos series. But he's going to be playing the villain Donald Pierce. For those who aren't familiar with Donald Pierce, because he is not Apocalypse, he's not
Magneto,
he's not in the A-list or B-list characters. Please give him some retrospect on who the hell Donald Pierce is and what he means to this X-Men movie from your perspective.
I can do this.
Yeah.
So let's go back and remember when we looked at First Class. First Class, we got the Hellfire Club with Emma Frost. And that's where we first see Donald Pierce arrive at, is the Hellfire Club. So I wonder if Springer's going to connect First Class Hellfire Club with Donald Pierce, which if he does would be awesome. I mean, like...
Well, yeah, because you got to think... Wolverine was in First Class in a very short scene, so it's in the same universe.
Yeah.
So...
where he's sitting there at the bar.
Yeah, he said fuck off.
Yeah.
Classic scene.
Yeah, of course. Which he did so brilliantly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love it. Didn't take one take. So what am I supposed to be doing? You're supposed to be sitting at a bar, drinking beer, and then when they come up to you, just say fuck off and then put a cigar in
He's like, I don't even have to act for this. I'm Australian.
No. Cool, I'll already be at a bar. Be there at 3.
Yeah.
I'll already be drinking.
So he's in Hellfire Club, but if you remember in the comic or in the TV show of the 90s, he's the cyborg. He's the one where they come in, they rip off his body part, and it's like, oh, you're done. But that's him. He's actually a cyborg. He's half human, half robot. And he plays a pivotal role in the comics, but only in certain events. He actually starts a group called the Reavers, or he joins it, where he becomes their leader, and of course it's cyborgs, and they become a big antagonist against the X-Men towards the 90s and 2000s. But what I really love is he actually went and started the Pacifiers, or became a member of the Pacifiers. And this group is crazy nuts. Like, we have a Stryker from X-Men 2, and I think he was in this new one. Yeah. He was a younger Stryker. Yeah, and he was in Days of Futures Past where he picks Wolverine up. Even Apocalypse too, but short. Stryker hates mutants. He drinks coffee in the morning about hating mutants, and he goes to bed wishing he could kill more mutants. That's Stryker. Nice. And he plays with mutants to kill mutants, like we saw in X-Men 2 and then Days of Futures Past as well. Misunderstood fella. Yeah. Go ahead. But Pierce is different, though. His hate for mutants stems at everything. So one of my favorite X-Men stories, and if you ever get a chance to go pick up the trade, is Messiah Complex and Messiah War. And it starts off with the mutant population's on the decline, blah, 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 and a new baby's born who's a mutant for the first time in years, and everybody goes after her. Well, at the beginning, there's this beautiful scene where the pacifiers find this town with this mutants in. And to eradicate the mutant, instead of going through looking for mutants, however, they go find mutants, they decide to kill everybody. And they go into the hospital, and they go into maternity ward, and they kill everything in the maternity ward. Sorry for the gruesomeness, but it's true. Yeah. But all that's Pierce. That's what his character is. He hates mutants so much that he's willing to kill anything and anybody in the way to kill mutants. And in doing so, he kills infants, children, women, men, anybody who's just in the way of whatever he's going to do. So finally, Cyclops actually grabs him and holds him and gives him the full optic blast of his eyes to destroy him. Wow. And then that's how he's killed off in the comics, and he hasn't been around for 10 years. I think he's pretty much dead. When you're a cyborg and you have an optic blast destroy your body, there's really not much to pick up from. Yeah, it's hard to recover from that for sure, especially from coming from Cyclops. So with him, though, if he's the main villain, I think in a way it's kind of cool, because now you're playing on this whole, if mutants are on the decline and you have this guy who just absolutely hates everything about mutants, is willing to do anything it takes to kill them. I mean, at least Stryker has his honor code to some extent. I don't think he'll, in order to kill a mutant, I don't think he'll kill a crowd of humans. I don't think he'll go that far. But in certain comics he has, it depends who writes them. Yeah. God loves men kill. He did do everything he could to kill mutants. But in other comics that you read, he'll stop just short of it because something's in the way of some barrier. Well, he's definitely been announced as the main villain. But, with recent news that your boy Sinister, Joe Blank, is also in the movie. We mentioned last podcast that we believe that Sinister is going to be more of the puppet master of this whole thing, and probably not reveal himself till the third act. Yeah, as to who his probably Wolverine or Logan's true creator. Kind of closing the chapter on that whole story. Yeah. So with Sinister, let's see. Last week we just hit him on a little bit, right? Yeah, we didn't tag it to the very end, so yeah. just like this one, not to the very end. Yeah, but I think I can do this in a few minutes. So Sinister comes in the evolution of Darwinism, and he starts kind of petering around and find out that this new race or new people are into existence. And he's this medical doctor in London, England. And what he does is he actually finds out about Morlocks, which are just basically mutants who are deformed physically and don't really have a lot of superpower. A few of them do, but mostly just defensive posturing kind of things. So what he does is he actually takes a bunch of Morlocks and he cuts them up in order to figure out what's working in them and what's not. And then he sews together his own Frankenstein and brings it to the medical board for review. He's like, look what I found, look at what I created. Of course, this thing's beyond dead. So everybody kind of freaks out and, kicks him out of the science board. And another background story, I probably should mention it earlier, is his son died from unknown reasons, unknown causes, and he loses his mind, and in order to figure out what happened, he, dissected his son. So anyway, his wife actually gave him his name and called him Sinister, so he decided to pick that up as his own. Well, he's still a normal human being. There's really nothing too special about him. You could call him a genius almost because he is doing the medical research and stuff, but he's nothing super powered yet. He's just an ordinary jerk. So at this point in time, Apocalypse wakes up, and Apocalypse wakes up every few centuries to walk around and see what's going on in the world. And if he finds it interesting, he stays and tinkers for a little bit. If he finds it boring, he goes back to sleep.
Because it takes long series of naps for centuries at a time.
And he's all about survival of the fittest too.
Yeah.
So he actually wants to be able to come out and say, wow, look at these guys. I'm going to work with them for 1,000 years. Or look at these guys. They're weak and pathetic. They don't deserve my time. He just goes back to bed. Well, he actually is in London. He finds out about Essex. And he goes in there and he's like, okay, what are you doing? What's going on here? He's like, I'm experimenting with mutants. This is something new. This is something outrageous. And he looks at Apocalypse and he says, you're actually a mutant. You're one of these people. And Apocalypse is like, oh, okay, well, you must be right. That explains why I'm so great. Now, at this point in time, Apocalypse has his powers, and he's not getting any stronger. He's already at his, he is Apocalypse. He is the one we imagine from the movies. Mm-hmm. He's not a weaker form of himself. So he actually takes Sinister and turns him into an immortal and gives him these superpowers, which are telepathy, telekinesis. I don't think he plays with his genius level at all, but he can heal from anything as well. So Sinister believes that there's going to be a messiah. There's going to be a mutant that's above everything. So fast forward a little bit, he's still doing his medical research. And this is kind of where Marvel hasn't really come out and said, but they've hinted at it, that people have found his research and use that to create their own special breeds of mutants or special breeds. And that comes with the Captain America serum. That comes with Logan. Mm. And like I said, Marvel hasn't really said Sinister is behind this whole big scheme of things of all these, like side projects people are doing. But they have said that his research is out there for other people to see. And we also find out Nick Fury was also big into Sinister's research as well. And Nick Fury was actually the first super soldier, not Captain America. Mm. Yeah. So that's why we think Captain America may be part to Sinister. But anyway, fast forward a couple years and we get Cyclops and Jean Grey. Sinister found out about Cyclops when he was an infant or a child, and he found out about Jean Grey. And Cyclops and Jean Grey finding each other with Professor X, Sinister was behind the whole thing. Not to dive into too many details to save time, but it was Sinister. So his big scheme was to get Cyclops and Jean Grey to have a kid, because both of them were so powerful that he believed that this kid would be the ultimate mutant messiah he was looking for. Well, not everything worked out with Jean Grey, because she got, the Phoenix Force recognized her.
She's temperamental.
Yeah, she's temperamental. And she actually died because of the Phoenix Force, but not really, because, you never kill off your property. So Sinister actually cloned Jean Grey in a woman called Madame Pryor. Now, here's where things get sick. Madame Pryor looked just like Jean Grey, talked like Jean Grey, and had the same powers as Jean Grey, but not quite. They didn't come to full fruition yet, but they were there. Yeah. And he manipulates her to fall in love with Scott. So Scott sees her and it's like, oh my God, you're someone new. I'm in love, but yet you look just like Jean Grey, except your hair's a little different. Yeah. So Madame Pryor actually took over within X Factor and was long resolved. Like a lot of people, when they pick up the old X-Men and old X Factor, that's not Jean Grey in the 80s. That's Madame Pryor. So along, comes the 80s, and Chris Claremont is writing at this point in time. He actually creates Sinister at this point. So the story goes, Matt Empire's in the hospital. Jean Grey has already come back from the dead, and they kind of had to kill off Matt Empire somehow. Well, Sinister's freaking out because he's like, Jean Grey's back from the dead, Matt Empire's here in the hospital, I gotta kill her. So he sends Sabretooth and some of his own Marauders, his group of henchmen, to go kill Matt Empire. And then the X-Men's like, okay, why are they trying to kill Matt Empire? What's up with this? So they actually save her. And then her and Cyclops had a kid, which that kid is Cable.
Cable, yes.
Yeah. And this is where Apocalypse comes in, once again, the back player, the peddler, of course. So he sees Cable as this chance of the mutant messiah. And he's like, I have this great idea. I'm going to infect this baby with a techno-organic virus, which is going to turn his body to metal. And if he's a strong enough mutant, he'll be able to repel it. And then I can take Cable as a host, because Apocalypse is so strong, it actually kills his body. So he needs a new host every 1,000 years. So Cable was supposed to be that host. Well, what happens is, and this is kind of, sickening, but Cyclops and Jean Grey send him to the future with actually Jean Grey, future self, and Cable, future self. We don't find that out till way later, but spoiler alert, it is Jean Grey's future self. Hopefully I haven't confused anybody yet.
Are you following along? Have you taken your notes, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah.
We'll be assessing a test later.
Multiple choice.
Yes.
I promise you, no fill in the blank.
There you go.
So Cable goes into the future, and he's actually raised to use his mutant power to stop this techno-organic virus. Now, Cable, a lot of people think he's badass, but he's extremely badass. You have it wrong. He's actually so powerful, he can use his telekinesis to stop this virus from taking over any more of his body. It's just he doesn't look that powerful as a mutant because he's using most of his abilities to stay alive. But yet, the fact he can sleep, eat, fight, take down almost anybody, and still maintain his abilities. So then there comes another character named Strife. And a lot of people get confused between Cable and Strife because they look the same. But when they found out Cable was infected with this virus, they create a clone, a pure 100% clone. And this is Strife. And this clone is raised by Apocalypse. But he was kind of created through Sinister and, all the other means. So Apocalypse has Strife, and he teaches him to be this ultimate villain, to be this ultimate killing machine. And Cable, for most of his life, actually believed that he was the clone, that Strife was the real one, and Cable was the defunct clone that got thrown aside. Well, Sinister, shortly after Executioner Song, which we talked about last time, where we find out Havoc, Sinister, Cable, all of them are related. Sinister pulls Cable aside and says, hey, look, you're the original. Not only are you the original, but Strife is the clone. And you're the one who I was looking for this entire time. You're the one who I want to go back in time and kill Apocalypse. So Cable turns to Sinister and is like, I'm going to go kill Apocalypse, but not for you, because I need to end this and stop this. So this is where the full circle happens. That leads to Sinister, that leads to Wolverine, leads to everything. Is Cable, on his own, decides to go back and kill Apocalypse at his youth. So he finds Apocalypse, but what he doesn't realize is Apocalypse is still a powerful mutant before he finds the alien technology. And they go head-to-head for like a comic book and a half of just fighting each other and all this other fun, crazy stuff. And he almost kills Apocalypse. He shoots him. Apocalypse is bleeding. He's on the ground. He's dying. And Cable's like, I've done my job. Great. I'm going to go back to the future. Well, he goes back to the future and finds out nothing changed. Nothing. And he's kind of like shocked by this. He's like, but I killed Apocalypse. Well, what happened was Apocalypse bleeding to death, crawling through the desert, actually finds a cave with the alien technology. And then from that, gets celestial technology where he becomes this all great powerful mutant, and then hence history continues on all the way through Mr. Sinister. And it's just amazing. So this Sinister is the one who I'm excited for, because maybe in Logan he turns around and is like, I'm behind everything.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it. of course, with Apocalypse now being dead in the cinematic universe, at least as far as we know, who knows? They can pull with Fox, they don't have to stick to continuity. We've seen.
Oh God, no. But he can also say that he tapped into the Phoenix Force, or he drove Apocalypse to drive I don't know. They'll figure it out.
And of course, going forward with Cable coming in, there's time travel elements, and so Apocalypse could reappear at some point. Who knows? But it's cool to see that we'll see a Mr. Sinister at some point. If it's at the very end or in the third, who knows how far in deep in the new Logan movie we'll see him. But it's exciting especially for X-Men fans.
Yeah.
To see. Of course, we would love to see. At least some people. A lot of people don't want to see the Marvel and the X-Men universes cross. But I always wanted to see it. At least Wolverine. Play along with the old Avengers over there. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Same with me, but I wonder if it's too late at this point in time. Like all this stuff that goes on the X-Men universe, all this stuff that goes on the Marvel. Like how would they say, oh yeah, by the way, these things been happening with each other and no one noticed?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, we forgot there was actually mutants, but we kind of had to keep it on the hush hush. With Hugh Jackman stepping out and them going forward, not having that tentpole actor to be in the series, maybe they'll need a little help from Marvel to go forward with their new stories. Maybe that's where they'll tie in, because Marvel at the same time they'll be past their Infinity War and Thanos and all that, so they might need some new kind of elements as well. So maybe post Infinity War and post Deadpool 2, we'll see some kind of X-Men Avengers
I would love
crossover.
It, dude.
Yeah, why not?
Captain America going at it with Cyclops.
Well, if we get a proper Cyclops,
Yeah, and see, that's the thing that drives me nuts is when I talk to people, they're like, who's some of your favorites? When I mentioned Cyclops in my top 5, along with Gambit and Colossus, they're like, Cyclops, but he's the Boy Scout with laser beams. Ooh, I'm like, well, they're not laser beams. They're really optic blasts. They come from another dimension. They just throw you through a wall. You're not burned in half. But when he's a tactician. He's taken down the X-Force, the X-Factor. He's the one who comes up with these great plans to fight these villains and fight these people. It's not like, oh, look, there's Cyclops having a anger battle with Wolverine. He's the one saying, you guys do this, you do this. And not only that, he's fought Wolverine hand to hand.
Yeah, he's X-Men.
Well, not hand to hand. You can't fight.
No.
He's outsmarted Wolverine. Yeah, I should say.
He's X-Men's Captain America, like you said.
That's. I would love to see that.
But they have to give us a proper Cyclops. An adult proper Cyclops. We'll see if they actually get to that point. We're just hoping. As for now, we'll take everything as it is. Because that's all they can give us. I have some other stories here, but I will get to that next time. But I will bring up one thing that came up today because it's kind of interesting, not comic book related. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm kind of on the. I don't know. Yeah, I'm still puzzled.
I've seen that look on you, Ivan.
Yeah,
What's the news?
I'm puzzled, questioning why. But okay, I see why, but kind of not why. Anyways, this week, actually today when we're recording this, they announced that, of course, Disney's in the whole live action thing.
Yeah, the Jungle Book, Peach Dragon.
Yeah,
both of them. Good.
I just caught.
I haven't seen Tarzan.
No. I just caught Jungle Book over the weekend, and I love that movie. It was actually pretty good.
I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, it was
like the animal CGI.
The fact that everything in the movie was fake, but the little boy it looked really good. I was really impressed.
Even the forest.
Everything was done in a warehouse. Everything was
no
fake.
Way
Water, but everything animals.
That's what's missing nowadays is stuff like that. I didn't know. I thought I knew the animals were fake, but I didn't know the forest and everything else was fake.
Yeah, and Jon Favreau, he's actually they locked him in to make the Lion King live action. So yeah, that's tricky too. At least Jungle Book, he had one person. In as a live physical character, but in Lion King it's all animals. But hey, Jungle Book live action, never thought it'd happen. and it happens. So why not? If he's proven with numbers and a great movie in the Jungle Book. So hey.
So what's the news today?
Aladdin.
Wait.
Aladdin
live action?
They're ready. Yes, they already.
No.
They already had it planned in the works. They already have a writer. He actually wrote the script. John August. He wrote such scripts as Big Fish.
Big Fish was good.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Dark Shadows.
Nah.
Charlie's Angels 1 and 2. Iron Man. Man. So I say he's a Big Fish and Iron Man. And
Big
else.
Fish was amazing.
Frankenweenie.
I have never heard of that movie.
Charming kids movie. I guess he's done work with man. Oh, I got his name. Tim Burton.
Yeah.
With Charlie Factory, Dark Shadows, and all that.
So Tim Burton version of action Lion King?
No. It's just the writer. John August wrote the script for Aladdin, but the director.
Oh, Aladdin. Sorry.
The director who's in talks for it it's got me like scratching my head like, huh? Guy Ritchie. Snatch.
Yeah.
The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, he does all those sophisticated, sarcastic,
he's in
smart-ass character movies.
He's in talk to direct a live-action...
Snatch doing the Aladdin.
A live-action.
Well, I mean, Genie was a sarcastic, but Robin Williams, I mean, come on now. What are you going to do? CGI Robin Williams in it, or...
It'd be cool if they did keep his voice and do the, all that. I don't know. It's kind of hard. You can't redo.
I think we need to write Disney a letter saying stop with the live action remakes of your movies. Let's do something original now.
Well, they do the
because they're doing the Lion King already. The guy from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., who was in the Avengers movie as well. What's his name?
Clark
Gregg.
Clark Gregg.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember his name, but I know he was in the Lion King. He's cast in it. But
I mean, they've got Beauty and the Beast coming out soon.
Yeah,
and
Beauty and the Beast.
They've got a live action Mulan in the works. Like I mentioned, the Lion King.
This is the problem: is they come up with a great idea, and instead of stopping and waiting, they're like, let's just go ahead and throw everything out there and make a lot of money while we can.
And they had even Little Mermaid. They had that in the works. I think that might have fell apart.
Little Mermaid, nah.
They're gonna do Aquaman under the sea, so why not?
Yeah, Aladdin's my favorite Disney movie. Lion King is close second.
Lion King is up there with the top 5 for sure.
But those were the ones I grew up on. Beauty and the Beast was amazing, but I was more impressed like the chandelier and them dancing and how awesome that looked.
Yeah, it's their love story.
Live action Aladdin.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be cool with the magic carpet and all those elements. And, who's going to play... what's the dude? Jafar, yes. Yeah. Who's going to play him? That you're going to need someone menacing. Although Jeremy Irons
did good. The animation of Jafar was so awesome, dude. Like the way, even through the movie, if you notice, he slides like a snake. He hovers. So when he transforms into it, made perfect sense. And
you gotta get Gilbert Gottfried as a parrot.
Yeah.
He's still alive. Come on,
it's like the throwback,
dude,
right?
Just send a dude a check. Come on, he's not doing anything else.
In a while.
No, why not?
Yeah.
Just get him as the freaking parrot. And but although the Genie is a big, other than Guy Ritchie being the question mark here and the questionable screenwriter, with some hits and misses, the Genie is going to be the big selling part of the movie because is what makes Aladdin is definitely.
But how would you do the Genie though? There's just something about animation that just makes it so wonderful with stories like that. And I'm thinking like a CGI based live action Genie. I'm just like.
It could look good, but
there's a reason why there's not a lot of blue mutants in the live action movies that we've seen.
Well,
Beast looks good, but
yeah, exactly.
Having something giant blue running around for 2 hours.
Well, for me, I'm not so much concerned about the look; it's the personality.
Guy Ritchie.
It's the Genie is definitely gonna be a hard sell. If you go casting a new voice for it. Who are you gonna do?
Yeah,
it's hard. I mean, Maybe, I don't know. See, off the top of my head, Zach, off the top of my head, one just popped in right now. I'm not saying it's good or not, but Steve Carell.
Steve Carell?
What do you think? I don't know. It just popped in my head. I don't know why, but...
No, Steve Carell's funny. I mean, I love The Office. I love the work that he did there.
I mean, nobody's going to...
Maybe Will Ferrell, too. I mean, if you're going to go that right.
But his voice... You know, you can just tell it's Will Ferrell and his mannerisms. I don't think he can capture... No one's going to capture Robin Williams.
Myers?
Possibly.
I mean... But then again, you know, he's so stuck on Shrek. I mean, I think I saw like a new Shrek's going to be coming out.
Yeah, Shrek 5.
Yeah,
they're going forward with that, of course.
Shrek 1 through 3 was great. 4, no.
No. You know what? I liked 1, 2. I didn't like 3, but I liked 4. For me personally.
Wait, which one was the one with the kids?
4 was the last one.
4 was the one where they went back and like
Rumpelstiltskin. Yeah, they changed the timeline a little bit.
Okay.
I didn't like the Justin Timberlake one. That was number 3.
Yeah, you're right. The one where, okay.
that one was kind of boring, but the fourth one was funny. I
changed my mind.
There you go.
It happens.
I brought him back. I had reminded him.
Rumpelstiltskin was the 3rd one, and then the babies were the 4th one.
No. You're right. Rumpelstiltskin was the 4th one.
Yeah.
And the babies were there, too.
Okay.
And the 3rd one, I think, was Justin Timberlake, and she might have been pregnant or might have had a baby. I don't know. Whatever. Neither here nor there. We diverted a little bit. But Guy Ritchie directed live-action Aladdin. For God's sake, somebody on Twitter tweet us in... I don't know. It's definitely not worth a boycott, but, I mean, come on.
Disney, stop. Just stop.
I don't know. It's just... I don't think... It's definitely out of the box to put him in that type of movie. Maybe
Beauty and the Beast at least will look cool once you get the CGI right with the clocks and the candlesticks and everything going, the teapots going. I think that would be really cool. Just CGI effect. But
and the Beast as well.
And then the Lion King live action, I heard it. I saw that they casted someone for it. You know, I was a little disappointed, but with Aladdin, it's like, Disney, come on now. Why are you taking all of your great movies and remaking it in live action?
It's been working out so far. And
that's a problem.
Just like the Marvel movies, as long as it's making money, they're going to keep doing it. You know, maybe they'll learn they'll learn something when Mulan comes out and doesn't make money. I don't know. Maybe I might be wrong. Maybe Mulan might be a hit, but I wasn't a big fan of Mulan myself.
No, Mulan was terrible with especially the stereotypes and something like that. It's like watching Pocahontas in China.
Well, hey, that's another one that's probably not far away as well. I mean, you know, all those Disney 101 Dalmatians, they already made one back in the day. But anyways, we can go on and on and on about all these Disney remakes, but live action movies. But all right, we'll go ahead and bring this thing to a wrap. And just want to give everybody in the Tampa Bay area and Florida corridor around the Tampa Bay area that MegaCon is coming to Tampa October 28th to October 30th. This might sound like a paid commercial, but it's not. I'm just endorsing because I'm just showing some love, and it's exciting to have a con come to Tampa because we don't get that much con love down here. Conventions coming by other than the Tampa Comic Con, which you went to that after this one this past year, this summer.
Yeah, I went to Comic Con this summer. I was a little disappointed.
Yeah.
I love Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So I went to go see my old boy, Dale. And he was charging like $80, no photographs, just an autograph. And I'm like, I could get that off eBay for something cheaper and lie about it.
Come on.
Yeah.
So you can just make your own autograph, say it.
Most of them were like no photos. Like I was walking down, I was like, I want to photo this person and this person. I would be willing to pay $80 to stand in line and get a picture taken as long as you look Walking Dead. If you had his haircut, I'd be like, no, dude, you got to put on this wig. Don't worry, I got it for you. It's fresh out of the bag.
have a little blood on you. Be a little dirty, a little scruffy. Like it just came off the set.
But, people were standing in line for this. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, for the momentum of it, and you had people stand there all across the way like, no cell phones, no cell phones. So I was a little disappointed about that. I feel like, celebrities, when they come out, they're supposed to intermix. Like, you're supposed to actually feel like you're meeting this person, and you get a chance to, like, have that 30 seconds of, whatever. A lot of the comic book artists were out there that I loved, I got a couple of signatures, stuff like that as well. Alan was out there. He did a lot of the old Captain American stuff, and it was really cool because he's like, I have Stan Lee on my cell phone. Come hang out with me. And I'm like, dude, that is so cool. But I knew who he was anyway. So, him and I got to talking, and that's what I like about these artists and these people. Is they're down-to-earth people. They enjoy it. They love talking to their crowd. So when you go to actually meet these celebrities who make millions of dollars anyway, I'm like, why do you need $80 just to sign a portrait? And that's it.
Yeah.
It's like you have enough money to make your kids rich.
Well, I think for the most part, it's the actual conventions that have to charge, because in order for them to come down, they have to be paid a fee, and in order to cover that fee, they have to recoup it somehow. So that's how they they hire the stars to bring the more fans. So it has to be, unfortunately, but at least make it somewhat reasonable. Yeah, and at least make it where it's worth what you're buying. You know what I mean? Yeah. Instead of on the scribble of his name, you might be able to decipher.
Here's a perfect example. R.L. Salvadori, who did like the Dark Elf Tales, with Drizzt, he was there. He was signing autographs and doing pictures and stuff like that. And I stood in line for like 20 minutes, and I was just like, "Hey, I'm so sorry, I don't have the book for you to sign. Can I have a picture with you?" He's like, "Yeah, that's fine." So he walked around the table, and I have a picture with him, and I'm just like, "Yeah," and I'm just like, that's what it is,
And that's what it should be, Well, MegaCon, first time in Tampa. You've been to Orlando one. You said you enjoyed that one, huh?
Yeah, MegaCon's awesome.
So first time in Tampa, we have for October 20th to 30th, Halloween weekend. Come on, Halloween weekend. People are going to get dressed up. Cosplays. People are gonna be in costumes anyways. I still debate how I'm gonna dress up. Yeah, I might just put I might just go with a mask. Why not? Yeah. Everybody else go.
Have your girlfriend paint some like Green Lantern thing. Get a shirt.
Something strange and weird. Anyway, this year they have for the first MegaCon Tampa, they have David Tennant for Doctor Who. Jessica Jones. Not a big Doctor Who fan, but Jessica Jones. He did Jessica fine. Jones. Yeah, he did good. They did have William Shatner, but he's not there anymore. Scoop that anymore. Carl Urban, Star Trek. Yeah, he's going to be in the new Thor 2, Thor Ragnarok. So that'd be someone to, maybe I don't know, autograph or picture, but something to see. And of course, the thousands and hundreds of cosplayers out there on the floor of the Tampa Bay Convention Center.
Yeah. And I think that's so cool too. Like a lot of the people I know are like, "Oh, I would never do that." I'm like, but that's the thing, though, is people step outside of their element.
Yeah, it's fun.
Just have fun.
Yeah.
It's like the best Halloween costume ever.
And people go all out. So I mean, even searching the past New York Comic Con, even just searching the news from that, you barely got any news. You just got cosplay pictures. It's like nobody gave a shit about what they talked about at New York Comic Con. They just said, "Hey, look at these cool costumes that these people did. They spent all their time, money, and effort to create these creative outfits and for the characters they love."
The coolest cosplay I've ever saw was Deadpool Link.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. He had, and it wasn't like he dressed up as Link with like just a hoodie on. No, it was like half and half. Like he had the shield, but even in the shield, like the little diamonds had like the Deadpool symbol. Wow. And he had the sword, but on the pommel, whatever that little ball thing is on the bottom of the sword, was the Deadpool image. Wow. And then he had like the green hoodie, but it was like the perfect red and green mixed. Like Christmas red green, not like the dark red like Ryan Reynolds. And I was just like, this is the coolest cosplay thing I ever saw, was Deadpool Link.
Did you get a picture of it?
Oh, of course not.
I
saw him go that way, and I was trying to get his attention. Yeah. And then there was like a crowd of Deadpools when I saw him again. Because that's the only thing that sucks about the Tampa Bay Convention Center. Sometimes it just gets so crowded with all the stands and stuff. So then when I actually had the chance to actually go back around, there was something else that was paying I'm ADD anyway, so something has my attention for like 30 seconds and then forget about it. But man, that was cool. So there's some ideas for you guys out there. If you mix it, like just take two completely different characters and find a way to combine them. It's always like so cool.
Or if that Deadpool Link character dude comes to the MegaCon, we'd love to take a picture with you.
Yeah.
Get a picture this time.
We're looking for you.
Yeah. We're looking out for Deadpool link at this year's MegaCon. All right. Well, October 28th to 30th, Halloween weekend. Tickets at MegaConTampaBay.com. So get your tickets, and we'll be at some part of it. Most likely at Saturday. We'll be out there enjoying the madness and taking pictures. Trying to interact and get the most that we can out of this experience that is MegaCon. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see. Well, it's my first con, so I don't know. I'm curious, nervous, and excited at the same time. That's a lot of things to be. So, all right. Well, wrapping this show up, and Robert, you have social media you want to plug before we get out of here?
No, not yet.
Just your where they can find you on Facebook or something?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook at Robert Pahachik. I put a couple links up there, do a lot of news and stuff. Yeah. I'm working on a YouTube channel now.
There you go.
Getting a lot of questions.
Nice.
And finally decided to start scripting last week.
Hey, good man, because you definitely know your stuff. So I mean, I have literally less than a quarter of the knowledge that you do have with comic books. That's why I bring you in. I'm like, I follow these movies, and even the comic book movies I'm big fans of, but I'm not a big follower of the comics. So, to know more and get more insight as to what these filmmakers are, or where they might be going, it's good to know where they're drawing from.
Yeah.
So there's plenty to draw from. So there it is. Look them up on Facebook and soon YouTube. And once you get that YouTube channel up or whatever, we'll definitely show some love on our Facebook page and Twitter and share the love. That way you can help those other and interact with others as well and crossbreed debate.
Yeah,
there's a lot of debates out there with with all this stuff going on. So, and with us, Let's Talk Flix, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Let's Talk Flix with an X at the end. All our past podcasts can be found on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, Spreaker Radio, or Spreaker.com. Sorry, and of course Wednesday nights at 9:30 at the Podcast Radio Network. On that note, we'll end this bad boy up. For I'm Miranda, Robert Pahachik. One day,
just say it.
Pahachik. This is Let's Talk Flix, and we want to thank you, appreciate you. Peace. Well, hey guys, that was Let's Talk Flix. Do us a favor, don't go anywhere. Coming right up at 10:30 This Week in Film, Podcast Radio Network. Listen live. Keep listening.